Hello hockey fans and welcome back to NHL Replay, the series where we use the power of video games to replay the last 2 decades of NHL history. In today's episode, we are going to complete the 4th year of our timeline, so join me as we replay the 2005-2006 NHL season. Now before we jump into our simulation, let's take a look at what actually happened during the 05-06 season. Running from October 5th, 2005 until June 19th, 2006, the 05-06 NHL season saw 30 different teams compete in an 82-game schedule, with the top 8 sides from either conference securing a place in the 2006 Stanley Cup playoffs. Interestingly though, there was no NHL All-Star game that year due to the league's participation in the 2006 Winter Olympic Games. NHL players competing at the Olympics? Ah, the good old days. So how did the regular season play out? Well, the Eastern Conference standings looked a little something like this. In first place were the Ottawa Senators, in second place were the Carolina Hurricanes, then in third, fourth and fifth were the New Jersey Devils, the Buffalo Sabres and the Philadelphia Flyers, while the New York Rangers, the Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning rounded out the playoff berths in 6th, 7th and 8th. Then the teams that missed the postseason, in 9th were the Toronto Maple Leafs, in 10th were the Atlanta Thrashers, the Florida Panthers and the New York Islanders took 11th and 12th, while the bottom of the Eastern Conference saw the Boston Bruins in 13th, the Washington Capitals in 14th, and the Pittsburgh Penguins dead last in 15th place. Now on the flip side, the Western Conference standings saw the Detroit Red Wings in first place, the Dallas Stars in second place, the Calgary Flames and the Nashville Predators in third and fourth place, San Jose and Anaheim in fifth and sixth place, while the Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers rounded out the playoff berths at 7th and 8th. Then the teams that missed the postseason, starting with the Vancouver Canucks in 9th place, the Los Angeles Kings in 10th place, the Minnesota Wild and the Phoenix Coyotes in 11th and 12th place, and rounding out the bottom of the Western Conference was the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Chicago Blackhawks and the St. Louis Blues in 13th, 14th and 15th respectively. And who won each of the awards that season? Well, the President's Trophy, given to the best team at the end of the regular season, was handed to the Detroit Red Wings, thanks to their incredible 58, 16 and 8 record, which was good enough for 124 points. The Art Ross and the Hart Memorial trophies were once again handed out to the same player, this time being Joe Thornton of the San Jose Sharks and the Boston Bruins, as he finished the year with 29 goals and a whopping 125 points in just 81 regular season games. Interestingly, I believe that this was the first and only time ever that the Hart Memorial and the Art Ross have been handed out to a player that was traded midway through the season, so Joe Thornton finds his way into the history books for a completely different reason as well. The Rocket Richard Trophy, given to the best goal scorer that year, was handed to Jonathan Cheechoo of the San Jose Sharks, who potted an incredible 56 goals and 93 points in 82 games. I imagine that having Joe Thornton dishing him the puck every single game really helped with those numbers there, and given that he never replicated these numbers again, this was a real flash-in-the-pan career year for Cheechoo, and he capitalised on it, won himself a Rocket Richard, so fair play to him. The Norris Trophy for the best defenseman was once again handed to Nicholas Lidstrom of the Detroit Red Wings, as he potted 16 goals and 80 points in 80 regular season games. Nicholas Lidstrom was always known as a brilliant defensive player, but the fact that he was able to register a point a game for an entire season, simply incredible. They really don't make them like Lidstrom anymore, do they? The Vezina Trophy for the best goaltender was handed to Mika Kiprasov of the Calgary Flames, who posted a rather impressive 42, 20 and 11 record, a 2.07 goals against average and a .923 save percentage in 74 regular season games. Back in the day where netminders were playing well over 60-70 games a season, Kiprasov managed to win 40 games for his team and had a solid save percentage the entire year. Hand him the Vezina, folks, he really earned it, you know. The Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year was handed to none other than Alexander Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals, thanks to him notching an incredible 52 goals and 106 points in just 81 regular season games. Ovechkin was of course drafted the year prior, missed his actual rookie season due to the 04-05 lockout, but once he was finally entered into the NHL, boy did he make a great first impression, right? The Jack Adams Award for Coach of the Year this time was handed to Lindy Ruff of the Buffalo Sabres, as he led Buffalo to a 52, 24 and 6 record and 110 points at the end of the season, which was good enough for 4th place in the Eastern Conference, and last but by by no means least, the Lady Byng Trophy for the most gentlemanly player was handed to the Magic Man Pavel Datsyuk of the Detroit Red Wings, as he managed to register 87 points and only rack up 22 penalty minutes in 75 regular season games. So not only did Datsyuk have a fantastic year offensively and really cement his reputation as the Magic Man, he also stayed in the penalty box about 12 times throughout the season, so really impressive performance for him. They call him the Magic Man for a reason, you know. But what happened during the playoffs, I hear you ask? Well, after 7 weeks of bitter postseason play, the Carolina Hurricanes would be crowned the victors, as they defeated the Edmonton Oilers in 7 games in the finals to clinch the 2006 Stanley Cup. As the Hurricanes lifted their first championship in franchise history, their rookie netminder was crowned playoff MVP, as Hurricanes goaltender Cam Ward would receive the 2006 Conn Smythe Trophy thanks to his incredible 15-8 record, his 2.14 goals against average, and his .920 save percentage in 23 postseason games. So not only did he steal the starting job during the postseason and help his team go all the way to the Stanley Cup as a rookie, Cam Ward became the second goaltender in the last 3 seasons of play to be crowned playoff MVP. Sounds like a pretty successful year to me, folks. So now that we know what actually happened during the 05-06 season, let's boot up the video game and see how our simulation plays out. Are you ready? Cause I know I am. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, in NHL 2K6. Now I know what some of you guys are thinking. Didn't you say that you were only going to play the EA Sports versions of the NHL titles? Why are we playing NHL 2K6 then? Well, I've decided to use 2K6 for several different reasons. Firstly, 2K6 was the first NHL related game to be released on the, at that point, next generation of consoles, the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, whereas NHL 06 was only released on the previous generations, so the GameCube, the PlayStation 2, and the original Xbox, so I wanted to use the best version of the NHL game that year possible. Secondly, the only copy of NHL 06 that I have is on the PC, and I'm recording all of this on a laptop that doesn't have a disk drive, so I wouldn't be able to install the game onto my laptop and play it on there and have it all sorted for you. And thirdly, several of you in the comments of my previous videos said that I should pick NHL 2K6 over NHL 06 because you mentioned that NHL 06 doesn't have Sidney Crosby and Alexander Ovechkin in the game, whereas NHL 2K6 does. I imagine that's because NHL 06 came out before the official rosters were announced for the 05-06 season, maybe something like that. But anyway, now that's all out of the way, let's actually get into the game. Let's hit the season mode and let's get started, shall we? Skill level, I'll put it up to pro because that's the middle level of difficulty in this game. Starting rosters will go current because they're the most recent rosters that we have. CPU trading, I'm going to turn off. Trade deadline, I'm going to turn off, and injuries I'm going to turn off. Now, the team we're going to play as in this game is none other than the one, the only Carolina Hurricanes. Of course, in the previous episodes, we've played as the Stanley Cup champions. The Carolina Hurricanes lifted the championship at the end of the 05-06 season, so it only makes sense to play as them, right? Come on, Hurricanes, let's win you that championship, eh? And here we are, the season mode main menu. Now, before we start looking at our regular season or simulating through any games, I think we should check our lineup first and see what we're working with here. We have Doug Weight at 89 overall, Eric Stahl at 88 overall, and Eric Cole at 85 overall. The second line we have Whitney, Brindamore, and Stillman at 82, 85, and 84 overall respectively. Our checking line is Vasicek with Matt Cullen and Justin Williams, 81 overall, 76 overall, and 80 overall. Then our fourth forward line we have the two Adams and Mark Recchi, 74, 75, and 86 overall. Unlike the EA Sports games, there doesn't seem to be a quote best lines option, so I'm going to stick with how it looks right now. The game obviously thinks this is probably the best way to do it, so I'll trust the game, I guess. Then our defensive pairs, we have František Kaberle with Brett Hedican, 78 and 81 overall. Then our second pair, we have Wesley with Oleg Tverdovsky, 80 overall for each of them. Then our final pair, we have Wallin and Ward, 74 and 76 overall. And then last but by no means least, our netminders, we have Martin Gerber, 84 overall, and Cam Ward at 80 overall. So if this team doesn't make the postseason, I would be genuinely surprised. They look strong enough to be a postseason contender. Obviously, they won the cup that year, so I would like to see them go on a bit of a deep postseason run, maybe even take home the championship. Will that happen? I guess we'll have to find out, right? So it looks like the Carolina Hurricanes 05-06 NHL regular season schedule begins with an away game against the Tampa Bay Lightning on Wednesday, October 5th, 2005. We're going to use the same simulation style as all the previous episodes. First 10 games, next 10 games, halfway through the season, etc, etc. You guys know how it works by this point. So let's just play through the first 10 games and see how we do. Our first 10 games are complete, and oh boy, what a start for the Carolina Hurricanes, folks. 7 wins in our first 10 contests for a 7-3-0 record and a 4-game winning streak during the latter half of October. I imagine we're sitting pretty high up in the conference standings if we take a look now. 3rd place in the East to start the year, trailing only Philadelphia, who have 1 game in hand, and the Buffalo Sabres in 2nd place, so can't really ask for a better start there. Then if we take a look at our player stats, Doug Weight leading the team over a point per game, 11 points in 10 games for him. Then 3 players all tied for 9 points in 10 games, Erik Cole, Eric Staal and Corey Stillman. Rod Brind'Amour with 8 points in 10 games. Look at that beautiful face he's got there. And then our goaltenders, let's take a look at them. Martin Gerber has played 6 games, I should say, a 5-1-0 record with 1 shutout. He has a 2 goals against average and a 9.30 save percentage, while Cam Ward has a 4 goals against average and an 8.81 save percentage, but he's only played 4 games and he's going 500 at 2-2-0, so we really couldn't have asked for a better start from this team, to be honest. I think we need to simulate through the next 10 games and see how we do. We've got 1 more game in October against Pittsburgh, then we've got plenty of games coming up in the month of November, so if we can keep up this kind of play for the next month, we're going to be putting ourselves in a really good position down the stretch. Let's win some games early, let's make life easy for us down the stretch, fellas. How do we do in our next 10 games? Let's simulate and find out. We're 20 games in now, and the Hurricanes are still doing very well this season. They're 13-5-2, so I believe we went 6-2-2 in our last 10 games, which, once again, a very solid performance for the Hurricanes. Carolina still sitting in 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. They're tied for 1st place, though, so Buffalo, Philadelphia, and Carolina, and the New York Islanders as well, even though the Islanders have played 1 more game and Philadelphia have played 1 less game. There's a 4-way tie for 1st place in the Eastern Conference right now. Boy, what a competition this is going to be down the stretch. If Carolina can hold on and keep playing good hockey, we're going to be well up there towards the end of the year. Eric Staal currently leading the team. NHL 2K6, I don't think that's what Eric Staal looks like. So 18 points in 20 games for Eric Staal leading the team. 17 for Brind'Amour. We've got 17 for Stillman, 16 for Doug Weight, 14 for Cole, and 13 for Vasicek as well. So interesting that our top 4 or 5 goal scorers or point scorers are all minus players. So that's not very good. It looks like our 3rd and 4th lines are getting the job done, shutting it down and making sure that we don't allow any goals against, because the top 6 clearly aren't doing it. But our goaltenders, so Martin Gerber, 10-1-1 with 1 shutout, so a solid record for him. A 208 goals against average and a 929 save percentage, so he's very much stayed the course throughout the next 10 games. Then Cam Ward has played 8 games. He's under 500 though, 3-4-1 with a 372 goals against average, so that's improved, and an 897 save percentage. So could be better, could be worse for Cam Ward. So I feel like we need to go to the midway point of the year, see how we're doing. I feel like this next 20 games is really going to tell us how our season's going to turn out. If we can string together a couple more win streaks, if we keep playing the kind of level that we've been playing over the first 20 games, we should be well in a playoff berth, even competing for 1st place in the East and maybe even the President's Trophy. So let's simulate through those next 21 games or so and see where we're at. We've reached the midway point of our year, and the Hurricanes could have played better, but they could have played far worse during those last 21 games. The one bit I do not like at all was during the midway point to the end of December, we went on a 6-game losing streak. We didn't win a game for like 2 weeks, which really isn't good for the Hurricanes here, but despite that, we're still 23-14-4 on the season, so we are sitting in 3rd still, so pretty much for the entire season we've been coasting at 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. Hey, I'm not complaining, it's a playoff berth nonetheless. Jaromir Jagr, 35 goals in 41 41 games this season. Martin St. Louis 35 as well, so at the moment it looks like a real two-horse race for that Rocket Richard trophy. Then the assists, we've got Damon Lankow with 37 for the Calgary Flames, then Prospal 36 for Tampa, Kajanik, I don't recognise that player. Martin St. Louis, 58 points in about 41 games so far this year. He's having a fantastic season for himself. Wow, the Buffalo Sabres, the top 4 players in plus-minus across the entire NHL all belong to the Buffalo Sabres, so they must be doing something right there. And then penalty minutes, you've got Nordstrom with 86. He's averaging over 2 penalty minutes a game, almost 2 penalty minutes a game, which is absolutely incredible. Okay, fair enough then. Eric Staal still leading the team, 38 points in 41 games, 19 goals on the season, but a minus 12. I'm not really sure what I think about that. Doug Weight, 34 points in 41 games. So there's a huge drop-off. We really don't have any players close to a point per game. Eric Staal is really the only guy that's anywhere close, but everybody else is kind of slacking a little bit. They're essentially scoring by committee, which, you know, it's got us 3rd place in the East, so I can't complain, but, you know, I kind of want to complain anyway, you know. Martin Gerber, 19-8-2 with 3 shutouts on the season. Not a bad year for him. A 2.45 goals against average and a .919 save percentage. So his stats have gone down during that last stretch, but he's still playing very well. Then Cam Ward has played 12 games. He's 4-6-2 on the season. Really not good goaltending from Cam Ward there. A 3.80 goals against average and an .892 save percentage. So our starter's getting the job done most times. Our backup netminder isn't really getting the job done. Considering he was the Conn Smythe winner by the end of the year, I'm very interested to see how he plays out the rest of the season. But I guess we should go back to the schedule and take a look towards the trade deadline. We've got about half of the season left to go. We should probably simulate through the next 20 games of the season and see how things go. We've obviously got the All-Star game in this, but there was no All-Star game that year. So I'll find the next 20 games of the season or so, and I'll get back to you once we've simulated through them, so I'll see you again in a minute. We're roughly 3/4 of the way through our 05-06 NHL season, and during that last 20-21 games or so, the Carolina Hurricanes could have played a lot better. They really dropped off during that last stretch. Let's see where that's put us within the standings. Wow, we have dropped dramatically there, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to that stretch, we are now, what, 6th place, I believe? We have a 32-25-5 record, good enough for 69 points. I feel like if we manage to get more points than Florida, we'll be back up to 3rd place in the division, so we really need to stay competitive towards the home stretch here. Then if we take a look at the Western Conference, the Colorado Avalanche now dominating the conference once again. God, are they going to win another Stanley Cup in this? I bloody hope not. 48 goals for Jaromir Jagr of the New York Rangers, so he's taken a relatively comfortable lead over Martin St. Louis of the Lightning with 44. 57 assists for Kajanik of the St. Louis Blues. Damon Lankow, he managed to drop his position there. Kajanik has really climbed up there, 57. Then Lankow with 53 assists, only 2 players with over 50 assists so far this season. Martin St. Louis with 80 points, so he's pretty much guaranteed to go over a point per game. Marian Hossa of the Atlanta Thrashers with 78, as with Jaromir Jagr, 78 as well, so there's still a race there for the point lead. That's going to be interesting to see who wins that at the end of the season. Plus minus, Brian Rafalski, the New Jersey Devils have jumped up here. All the Buffalo Sabres players have dropped dramatically. 3 of our players are in the top 11 of plus minus. Then Scott Stevens with 135 penalty minutes on the year. We finally have a player going over a point per game, ladies and gentlemen, and it's Eric Staal, our 21-year-old wonder kid. 63 points in 62 games, 32 of which are goals, so very impressive by him. Doug Weight with 58 points in 62 games. He's starting to reach that point per game pace again. Eric Cole with 44, so there's a huge drop-off between the top 2 and the rest of the roster. Martin Gerber, 25, 17-2 with 4 shutouts on the season, a 2.74 goals against average and a 912 save percentage. Hey, Cam Ward's save percentage has managed to crack above 900. He has a 3.20 goals against average, and he's a 7-8-3 with 1 shutout in 18 games. So he's almost hitting 500 again, is our boy Cam Ward. Not quite yet, but he's getting there. So I think all that's left to do is to simulate to the end of our regular season, folks. I mean, we've got about 20 games left to play on our season. Our last game of the year is on April 18th, 2006 against the Buffalo Sabres, which could be a huge game by the end of the year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate to the day before our final game of the season, and I want to see where the team's at. Do we go on a bit of a run towards the end of the year and cement our playoff berth and make it through to the postseason? Let me simulate through the next 19 games, then we'll see where we're at, and we'll play our final game of the year. How about about that, folks? That sound good? I hope so, because I'm doing it anyway. We've reached our final game of the 05-06 NHL season, and as you can see on the screen right now, we took a lot of L's during that stretch, folks. We are now 39, 36, and 6. We are only just above 500, which is really disappointing, especially compared to how we started this season. Now, if the 5-game losing streak at the start of April wasn't bad enough, towards the end of March, we lost 3 straight games as well. So during those last 19 games that we simulated, we went on an 8-game losing streak. Where does that put us in the standings? Let's take a look. Oh my god, the Carolina Hurricanes are out of the playoffs. We are 2 points back out of the playoffs. We are currently in 11th place in the standings. Tampa Bay have 86 points in 81 games. We have 84 and 81, and I believe they're in the same division. So if we want to have any hope of making it to the playoffs, Tampa have to lose their last game, and we have to win. Even if we beat Tampa, or even if we get the same amount of points as Tampa, it might not be enough because they have more regulation wins than us. Oh, this is going to be difficult. This is going to be tough, but we're going to simulate through this game nonetheless. How are the Carolina Hurricanes going to do? We won the game, but our team did not make the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. So the 05-06 Carolina Hurricanes, who managed to go on a surprise run, take the Stanley Cup Championship, win their first cup in franchise history. In the simulation, they could not do it, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that's so disappointing. I really wish we could have made it there with the Hurricanes. So let's take a look at the final standings for the regular season. In the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia Flyers take first place in the East with a 53, 23, and 6 record, which is good enough for 112 points on the year, so a fantastic performance by the Flyers. Then the Ottawa Senators, who actually took first place in real life, finishing second, but 6 points back from the Flyers. In third place, Florida, then Pittsburgh, Montreal, Buffalo, New Jersey, and Tampa rounding out the playoff berths. And look at us, ladies and gentlemen, the Carolina Hurricanes, tied in points with both New Jersey and Tampa Bay, but we just couldn't fit ourselves into the playoff berths. We just couldn't squeeze ourselves back into the top 8. Boston in 10th, the Islanders in 11th, then Atlanta, the Rangers, Toronto, and Washington rounding out the Eastern Conference. I'll put up the final standings of our simulation as well as the actual Eastern Conference standings during the 05-06 season on the screen right now, and as you can see, there's some really interesting differences between the two. First off, the Ottawa Senators finishing second in our simulation, whereas they actually finished first place in real life, and the Pittsburgh Penguins, that's a really interesting one, because they were one of the bottom feeders in the East during the actual season, whereas they finished 4th place in our simulation, and very handedly clinched a playoff berth here. I imagine that Sidney Crosby lighting up the NHL probably had something to do with that, but fair play to them, the Penguins got the job done. However, I think the biggest difference is, of course, the Carolina Hurricanes, our team. They finished 9th in our simulation, whereas they made the playoffs during the real NHL season, and obviously they went on to win the Stanley Cup, so maybe I'm a bit of a bad luck charm for these championship teams. Obviously I want to go and pick a team that has the chance to make the playoffs and, you know, see how deep they can go into the postseason, but more often than not, whenever I play as them, they seem to miss the postseason altogether, let alone actually make it and go on a deep run to the championship, so maybe I'm just an agent of chaos who loves to watch the championship team suffer. I don't know. And in the Western Conference, the Phoenix Coyotes took first place in the West thanks to a 50, 29, and 3 record, good enough for 103 points in 82 regular season games. However, there were 3 different teams that finished the year with 103 points in the West, those being Phoenix, the Colorado Avalanche in 2nd place, and the Calgary Flames in 4th place. The Columbus Blue Jackets, thanks to their weak division, 91 points on the year, they managed to secure 3rd place. That total probably wouldn't be enough to get them into the postseason if they were in a different division, but thankfully their division sucked that year, so well done to them. Then the rest of the playoff teams were the Los Angeles Kings, the Anaheim Ducks, the Dallas Stars, and the Vancouver Canucks in 8th place, so an interesting group of playoff teams there. Then the teams that missed the postseason from the West, the Detroit Red Wings in 9th, the Edmonton Oilers, the Chicago Blackhawks, the St. Louis Blues, the San Jose Sharks, the Nashville Predators, and last but definitely least, the Minnesota Wild. So if we compare our simulation to what actually happened in the Western Conference during the 05-06 season, once again you can see some pretty notable differences between the two. Obviously the St. Louis Blues, who finished dead last in the real NHL, they managed to finish slightly better in this simulation, although not good enough to be able to come anywhere close to competing for the playoffs. However, I think the biggest difference is the Detroit Red Wings, ladies and gentlemen. In our simulation, they finished 9th place in the West. They were at least 8 points back from a playoff berth in their division, and compared to them finishing 1st place in the real NHL and winning the President's Trophy, they weren't just the best team in the West, they were the best team across the entire NHL. in this simulation, they missed the playoffs completely in 9th place. So as the person that simulated with the Carolina Hurricanes and had to watch the championship team miss the postseason altogether, seeing Detroit, who won the President's Trophy, also finish in 9th place like we did, that does give me some kind of solace. Now, before we simulate through the postseason, let's take a look at the final player leaders for the 05-06 NHL season. Jaromir Jagr of the New York Rangers, finishing the season well above any other contender with 59 goals in 82 games that year. So the ageless one shows that he deserves to win some hardware at the end of the year, obviously winning the Rocket Richard with that performance. 5 goals above both Paul Kariya and Patrick Marleau from Nashville and San Jose, so he really did have a lead on that goals race, so well done to Jagr. Kajanik managed to finish the year still with the assists lead. Once again, a pretty comfortable margin between him and second place Damon Lankow. 74 assists on the year for him, so congratulations, that's a wonderful performance for a guy that I had no idea existed before I started recording this video. 103 points for Jaromir Jagr, so Jagr's going to be taking home several different awards. 3 points above Martin St. Louis of the Tampa Bay Lightning. He manages to narrowly beat out St. Louis for that first place finish, so not only did he score the most goals, but he also got the most points on the season. Plus minus Chris Phillips and Jonsson from the Ottawa Senators, both finishing with plus 25, so impressive performances from them. Penalty minutes, Scott Stevens, 180 penalty minutes in just 82 regular season games. And the final stats for the 05-06 Carolina Hurricanes, the leading scorer on the team with 41 goals and 38 assists for 79 points in 82 games, none other than the 21-year-old Eric Staal. So a fantastic performance for him, 41 goals on the year, wasn't getting anywhere close to the Rocket Richard, but still a fantastic performance nonetheless. Doug Weight with 75 points in 82 games, including a 20-goal year, so a decent performance for him. Then it drops off quite dramatically. Rod Brind'Amour, 58 points in 82 games. Corey Stillman, 56 points, including 20 goals. 31 goals for Ray Whitney, but only 54 points in 82 games, and 52 in 82 for Eric Cole. Then if we take a look at the goalies to finish off, 31, 26, and 2 for Martin Gerber in 59 games, 6 shutouts on the year, a 269 goals against average, and a 913 save percentage. And the backup netminder, the actual Conn Smythe winner, Cam Ward, a 9, 10, and 4 record in 23 games, 2 shutouts, a 315 goals against average, and a 907 save percentage. So we could have done better this season, we could have done worse. It's not the best performance for the Hurricanes, especially given what actually happened in the real NHL, but it would have been nice to see the team make it to the playoffs, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. Let's just go and simulate through the postseason and see who wins the Stanley Cup, shall we? So I'm going to go all the way to July 1st, because I imagine that's going to be a good point to finish up. And the Philadelphia Flyers have won the 2006 Stanley Cup. It looks like they defeated the Colorado Avalanche in the Stanley Cup finals. So once again, the Avalanche are making it all the way through to the finals, competing for like their 4th cup in the last 5 years through our simulations. But the Philadelphia Flyers say no to your dynasty, sir. We're taking home the championship instead. Yes, we won the President's Trophy as the best team in the league, but President's Trophy curse, get out of here. We're taking home the cup. The Broad Street Bullies are back on top, folks. So let's take a look at the rest of the awards now that we're here. So the Flyers win the Stanley Cup. The best team from the West during the playoffs was the Colorado Avalanche. The Flyers obviously take home the Prince of Wales. Like I mentioned, the best team during the regular season, the Flyers, with 112 points on the year. The Art Ross Trophy goes to Jaromir Jagr of the New York Rangers, and the Hart Memorial goes to Dominik Hasek of the Buffalo Sabres. So unlike the real NHL where Joe Thornton managed to take home both awards, this time 2 different players take them, and a goaltender takes the Hart Memorial, so that's really cool. It's not very often you see a goaltender take home the league MVP award, but he manages to get it done, so fair play to him. And the Art Ross Trophy goes to Jaromir Jagr, the ageless one. So the James Norris for best defenseman goes to Sergei Gonchar. Interesting, so Nicholas Lidstrom doesn't get his hands on it this time. Jaromir Jagr with the Lady Byng. So not only was he the Art Ross winner, one of the leading scorers in the league, leading point scorers, but he manages to be the most gentlemanly player as well. That's what I like to see, Jagr, especially as a Rangers fan. You get the job done. I appreciate that. The Calder Memorial for Rookie of the Year goes to none other than Sidney Crosby, ladies and gentlemen. Alexander Ovechkin wins it in real life. Sidney Crosby takes it in this simulation. Now, I'm not surprised given that Pittsburgh managed to make it to the playoffs, and like I said, Crosby was probably a big reason for that, and now we know why, and we knew that I was proven right, because Crosby wins the Rookie of the Year award. The Conn Smythe goes to Robert Esche of the Philadelphia Flyers, so fair play to him. Playoff MVP. Obviously, I don't have the stats in front of me to see how well they did, but he obviously earned the trophy, so well done to him. The Vezina for best best goaltender, of course, goes to Dominik Hasek. Are you surprised, ladies and gentlemen, given that he won the Hart Memorial as league MVP? The William M. Jennings goes to Mika Kiprasov, so while he doesn't win the Vezina Trophy this year like he did in real life, he manages to get the Jennings Trophy, which I believe is for the least goals against, does it say? Minimum of 25 games, fewest goals against, so yeah, well done to Kiprasov. The Frank J. Selke Trophy goes to Jerome Iginla, which I think is a pretty surprising choice there. Iginla's always been known for his goal scoring and his point production. I would have never have thought him as being a defensively minded forward, but apparently the NHL awards group decided to give it to Iginla, best defensive forward in the league this year, so fair play to him. Maybe he didn't produce as many points as he usually does, and he decided to focus on his defensive side of the game. The Lester B. Pearson Award goes to Dominik Hasek. Hasek taking home a bunch of awards this year. The Dominator, are you surprised? He's an absolute stud. So yeah, take home the awards, Hasek. The Rocket Richard Trophy goes to Jaromir Jagr. The Jack Adams Award goes to Marc-Antoine Mons. I don't know who that is. I don't know what team he plays for. Congratulations to all the award winners for the 05-06 NHL season. And well done to the Philadelphia Flyers for taking home the Stanley Cup. It's been a long time coming for them. And thankfully they have some kind of success in this video game because they're probably not going to have any success in the real world anytime soon. So enjoy it, Flyers fans. This might be the best it gets for quite some time, you know. I've decided to show you the playoff tree just so you guys can see exactly what happened during the postseason. But on that note, I'm going to end today's video. That was my attempt to replay the 05-06 NHL season. What do you guys think about how our simulation played out? Did you expect something like this to happen, or was it completely different to anything you could have imagined? Do let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear what you guys think. But thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, or watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye! A big thank you to Bexy93, Burned Retinas, Clayton Hallam, Drew Fawcett, Houston NG, Raquel, and Worthless Pieces for helping support this video via Patreon. If you too want to help support the channel a little bit further and get a shout out at the end of every future video, make sure you head over to patreon.com/oddmanrush and become a patron today.